welcome to Menopause Made Easy with Tanya. I'm Tanya, your guide to feeling vibrant, strong, empowered through midlife and beyond. I created this podcast, oh my gosh, 2.5 years ago because I wanted to share everything I've learned about my journey through perimenopause. Now I am postmenopausal and I have been in this industry for over 30 years. I'm an avid reader and my passion is to help myself be vibrant as I age and help you with all the knowledge that I have learned. All right, so today we're diving into a fascinating and eye-opening topic that could completely change how you think about what's on your plate. I have done a few episodes on seed oils, vegetable oils, and how damaging they are for you. And I've heard about Dr. Catherine Shanahan through podcasts, and then I picked up her book, Dark Calories. And let me tell you, I'm going to spend a couple of episodes really diving into this book because it is so necessary that we have this information. I'm a little fish in the big pond, so I've gone away from interviews and doing something different in here where I'm doing book reviews. And, if you don't have the time to read this book, I'm going to give you the down and dirty. All right. So if you've ever wondered why eating healthy doesn't always feel so healthy, because I hate to tell you, they're putting a lot of these bad oils in our healthy foods. You really have to become a detective. You do your best efforts to be healthy and be energetic and vibrant and get your weight where you want to be, but it's not happening. Like you still have aches and pains and brain fog and stubborn weight and fatigue. And I'll tell you, I've learned a few things from reading this book. And again, we've been talking about how this is the age of light. This is the age of bringing things together, transparency. And she does a fabulous job of, which I'm going to talk about in this podcast, of threading 50 to 150, like where these oils, how they got into our food and everything. Oh my gosh, it's just going to blow your mind. Sorry, I have an itchy nose listening to this. So this conversation could be the missing link to your health, okay, and vitality and weight loss. So let's get into it. I think it's really important to understand the story behind vegetable oils. They like to call it vegetable oils. It sounds so healthy, doesn't it? Vegetable oils. Okay, so despite the name, they don't come from vegetables like broccoli or carrots, right? So vegetable oils really means seed oils. And I'm going to talk about the Hateful Eight, but here's a few of them right now. So it's the soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, sunflower, which sounds so nice, doesn't it? Sunflower oil, cottonseed oil, grapeseed oil, and a few others that we will dive into. And the process to make them is disgusting and it's intense, right? So these seeds are collected and heated, collected, shipped in, trucked in, and heated at very high temperatures, which immediately starts damaging the delicate fats within these seeds, right? And then they have to treat them with chemical solvents like hexane to pull out the oil. And then this oil, because it's so disgustingly smelly, they deodorize it to mask the rancid smell, and then they bleach it to make it look more appealing to us. Okay, so what you end up with is anything far from natural, right? It's an ultra processed industrial product. And the scary and upsetting and really disappointing thing to me is that they are everywhere. They're everywhere. So many women say to me, "Oh, Tanya, all I'm doing is eating salads and I'm not losing weight." But they don't know that the salad dressings, unless they're making them themselves, are loaded with these toxic oils. And it could be absolutely sabotaging your weight loss goals. Okay. So like I just said, they're in most salad dressings, right? They're in baked baked goods, chips, crackers, frozen foods. And again, like the healthy options, which I talked about in these previous episodes, they can be in healthy protein bars. They can be in your olives. They can be in your artichokes. Like I have had to switch out so many products, and it's not easy to find olives in olive oil. They put olives in sunflower oil or safflower oil or canola oil, which is so freaking disappointing. Okay. And the same with artichokes, just doused in this disgusting oil. So you really have to be diligent. They're in a lot of plant-based meats, right? So again, you have to read labels. And I'm sorry, but listen, I eat at restaurant unless you're going to a seed oil free restaurant, which more and more are starting to advertise that. You are going to pay more for your food because the other oils are more expensive, but you're going to pay for it in your health if you keep eating these oils. So I'm not going to stop going to restaurants, but I'm definitely over the past couple of years that I have been studying seed oils, decreased and gotten much pickier about which restaurants I am visiting. Okay. So like you could even have like a healthy chicken salad at a restaurant, but it's got the seed oil dressing. Maybe the grilled chicken has even been grilled and marinated in soybean oil or canola oil. Like it's infuriating to me to try to be healthy, to think you're doing all of the right things and still nothing's happening. So why does this matter to our health? So in the book, before I go on, she does a deeper dive into like the industrialization and the history of it, basically. So you can read if you'd like to, but I'm just going to give you the surface level here. Okay, and then we're going to dig down into like why it matters for our health. Why does this matter for our health? Why should we care about these seed oils? And in Dark Calories, Dr. Shanahan explains that these damaged oils don't just add calories. This is so, oh my God, this angered me. It actually embeds into our body tissue. Okay. So remember, I have told you, we are just cells. We are trillions of cells. Okay. Trillions of cells. And in these cells, when these seed oils come in, they damage our cells. Okay. So they get incorporated into the cell membrane, making your cells more fragile. They trigger chronic inflammation throughout the body, your aches, your pains, your stubborn weight loss, brain fog, all of these things. Like every disease starts from inflammation. Okay. And then they interfere with how your mitochondria. Oh, I did a great episode on mitochondria. Where is it? I think it's maybe 191, 192. I've been talking about mitochondria for a long time. Okay, that's the powerhouse of your cell. Okay, so the tiny power plants inside your cell. Think of a cell, it's got different things in it, but your mitochondria, okay, is the power, the teeny tiny power plant inside your cells that produce energy. Like keep that in your mind. Okay. All right. And when these seed oils come in, they're disrupting the way your mitochondria work. And I'm going to do, I think the next episode, we're going to do a deeper dive into that. All right. So while you're going through this perimenopause, menopause shift, our bodies are already dealing with like hormonal shifts, chaos that can affect your metabolism, your joint health, your brain clarity. I've done episodes on this. I did one on 42 symptoms of menopause, so you can see if any of those are what you are feeling with. Okay, but I'll go over some more in a second here. So when we add this stress of toxic fat, okay, so not all fat is created equally. All right, so these fats that I'm talking about are PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids. Okay, so you have saturated fats, unsaturated fats. We're not talking about those right now. We're just talking about seed oils and PUFAs. Okay, so these toxic fats are like throwing gasoline on a fire. Okay, we're exploding. And so some of these symptoms that have been tied to high seed oil intake Okay, so this is why we really want to. I don't know if you can avoid it. I'm going to get into that. But if you can at least minimize and be aware of what seed oils you're putting in, that would be grateful and helpful to you. Okay, so some symptoms you may be feeling are like just more body fat, like especially that belly fat, right? Worsening insulin resistance, which I'm going to do next week as well, or the week after. Joint stiffness and achiness. Okay, brain fog and mood swings and higher risk for heart disease and cancer. So remember, all of these are already 30% higher approximately than they used to be because our estrogen and progesterone and testosterone are decreasing, right? Especially that estrogen. And so then you throw these toxic oils on, and then you're ready for a shit show, to excuse my language, but okay. And it's not even about how much you're eating, it's the quality of the fat. Okay. It's the quality of the fat. So even a small amount of these oils can do damage over time. It ticks me off. So again, I am not completely 100% seed oil free. Sometimes I actually forget that there's actually seed oil in things when I'm going to a restaurant. Just this last weekend, my husband and I went out, and I never order French fries. Like, rarely do I order French fries. I'll usually get a salad or something else with my main meal, like a sandwich, etc. And it came with French fries. And I was like, you know what? I'll have a couple. And then I was reading in her book, and I've heard this before, but it's like one French fry is the equivalent to smoking one cigarette. That's how toxic it is for you. So I said to my husband that I smoked 10 cigarettes on Saturday. But I'm just like, oh my gosh, Tanya, disgusting. And when you know better, you do better. And when you keep remembering, you do better. So this is why I constantly talk about it. This is why I'm constantly reading about it. And what's really happening now in our world is that you can't hide things anymore. Like, there's too many things that are out in the open, and they're threading all of these things together. And oh my gosh. Anyway, so more things are coming to light. Like, this is not a problem that's been going on for 2 years. This is decades, decades. Okay. And it's just in more and more and more products because it's cheaper. Okay. And when they make cheaper food, okay, they make more profit. And when you're sick, the healthcare industry makes more profit because they profit off your sickness. All right. So again, you are the CEO of your health. All right. So how can these polyunsaturated fatty acids wreck your health from the inside out? Okay, so now let's go even deeper here. So seed oils are dangerous mainly because they're loaded with a type of fat called PUFA, which I mentioned earlier, which stands for polyunsaturated fatty acids. Okay, so when you're reading a label, that may or may not show up on there when they're breaking down the fats. All right. And I've talked about this before, but you have omega-3, omega-6. This is just two types here. Omega-3 to omega-6. Omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. Omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. Omega-6 is inflammatory. Long, long time ago, it used to be a 1-to-1 ratio, so our bodies were in balance. Now it's 1 omega-3 to 20 omega-6s, roughly. Okay. And so what's happening is your body is so out of balance and so inflammatory, right? And so we want to bring that balance back down to 1-to-1. All right. And in Dark Calories, Dr. Catherine Shanahan explains that PUFAs are highly unstable, meaning they oxidize. Remember, oxidize, you cut an avocado in half, you put lemon on one side, leave the other side, you go back the next day. The side with the lemon juice is not quite as brown and gungy as the other side. That's oxidation, oxidation. So you need antioxidants in your diet. Okay, so when you have these fats, they're highly unstable, which means they oxidize easily when exposed to heat, light, and even natural processes inside of our body. And when these PUFAs oxidize, they create harmful molecules. You may or may not have heard of this before, called free radicals. And these free radicals start damaging your cells, your DNA, and your tissues. So we want to minimize how many free radicals we have in our body. Okay, and then here's the worst part is that every time you eat these seed oils, these PUFA heavy oils, your body has to use up its antioxidant defenses, okay, things like vitamin E and glutathione, just to neutralize the damage. And what's happening, remember, we're not at that 1-to-1 ratio anymore. Your body's going, oh my God, I can't keep up. I can't keep up. Like, you're not even feeding me enough antioxidants. One is because our diet is so deficient, and our soil quality, anyway, I've talked about this before, right? So our bodies are having a harder time dealing with neutralizing this damage. And that means your antioxidants get wasted off fighting these seed oil toxins instead of doing their real jobs, like protecting your brain, supporting your heart, keeping your skin youthful, fighting aging from inside out. All right. And so over time, it's like draining your inner battery without even realizing it. And no wonder we feel more fatigued, inflamed, and foggy. Okay, and it doesn't stop there, because in her book, she talks about a researcher from a Dr. Stephen Guynet, Guynet. I don't know how to say that, Guynet. Okay, Stephen Guynet. And he's a leading obesity neuroscientist. Okay, and he shows that the type of fat you eat, remember, not all fat is bad for you, is actually changes your body fat. Like, this was like in my head, okay? Changes your own body fat. So when you eat a lot of these PUFAs, okay, it gets stored in your fat tissue. Okay, now we have talked about being a sugar burner and a fat burner, and I'm going to talk more about this next week. Okay, sugar burner, fat burner. Listen to episode, I think, 8, number 56. I've done episodes on intermittent fasting. I've done episodes on stored sugar versus, sugar versus fat burning, stored sugar. Okay. So these PUFAs, they get into your fat cells, all right, which makes your body fat more fragile, inflamed, and more prone to releasing inflammatory chemicals, which can worsen insulin resistance. Remember, that's already harder because we're in menopause. Increases your cravings. So if you have a lot of cravings, which I once upon a time did, oh my gosh, okay, I gotta stay on track here. And makes it harder to lose weight. Okay. So I know many of you come to me and you're just like at a standstill, like, what am I doing wrong? Well, start reading your labels. Chips, crackers, salad dressing, your olives, artichokes. Like, go to your refrigerator and your pantry and see which ones you can get rid of. And in my midlife reboot program, we were talking about, and I was actually at the grocery store yesterday, that a lot of products that are cheaper on the shelves are cheaper because they're using these seed oils. And PC products, like, you can even, I picked up PC sausages versus, I can't even remember the name of the other brand, and I read labels in meat. Okay. And I was just reading, because I'm like I don't know, I find this fun to go to a grocery store and read labels. And the PC products had seed oils in the sausage. I don't need seed oils in my sausage. Okay. So, just makes me crazy. So when your body fat is built, okay, from these polyunsaturated fatty acids, it's like your fat cells are always whispering, feed me, instead of helping you feel stable and energized. All right. So you want to eat fats from olive oil, olives if they're not in shitty oils, avocado. All right. So this is so critical. Butter, ghee, so critical during menopause when our bodies are already adjusting to so many changes in estrogen and metabolism. All right. So seed oils and PUFAs are like pouring gasoline on a fire that's already smoldering. This is in our control, not 100% of the time, but like I said, go and check your labels, start to pay $2 more for a product so you don't have these oils in you. Start asking at restaurants. Can you cook this in olive oil or avocado oil or butter, or just don't even cook it? I'm just playing with you. So start to ask questions. Okay, so but the good news, everybody, is that when you start switching away from seed oils, you aren't just cutting calories and nasty calories. You're repairing your metabolism at at the cellular level, which is where it's really important. So I've talked about this, but why is reading labels so important? It is crucial now more than ever to become a label detective, because even products, like I said, that are labeled organic or natural or that you think are healthy, they sneak in these seed oils. Okay, so you have to read the ingredient list, not just the front label, you've got to read the back. You have to look for words like vegetable oil, soybean oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, cottonseed oil. These are red flags. You want to have better options that include extra virgin olive oil. And if you can get first pressed, that's even better. Avocado oil, coconut oil, MCT oil, butter, ghee. All right. And a good rule of thumb is if you can't picture how the oil was made just by thinking about it, like pressing olives, okay, it's probably way too processed. All right. So, and it's okay to eat sunflower seeds. It's just not good to eat sunflower oil. Okay. So, what are some action steps that you can take? And then I'm going to give you some suggestions to eat during the day. All right. So, I don't want you to leave here feeling overwhelmed, because remember, my philosophy is small changes make a big difference. Small hinges swing big doors. And there's 3 simple action steps that you can start to do today. All right. So go to your pantry, go to your fridge, look at your labels, and switch your cooking oils at home. Oh, and you know, one thing from reading this book is she talks about women, and a few women have come to me with lung cancer that don't smoke. And she talks about in here that, and I cook a lot, that when you are using these bad oils and you're getting the vapors, okay, it can be a cause of lung cancer. And I think of how many women have been cooking with these horrible oils. So like, listen, this is not always about body fat. This is about your health. So get rid of those oils, get them out. And if a recipe calls for any of these hateful 8, just replace the oil with avocado oil, butter, or olive oil. All right. So you're using extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, butter, ghee. You got to ditch the canola, soybean, vegetable oil bottles. Okay. Pick clean and simple snacks. So instead of grabbing the processed bars, God, there's so many recipes online. Or look for a cleaner bar or chips. Keep some almonds, some boiled eggs, some jerky. I'm not a big jerky person, but I'm trying to think of something else. Celery, carrots, vegetables. Okay. Some of those you can keep in your purse and some you cannot. So go for nuts if you want to keep them in there. And you know what even ticks me off is raisins and cranberries are often like processed in sunflower oil. Like it's everywhere, everybody. Okay, so the thing you have to do is really just minimize and cook more at home. All right, so restaurant meals almost always use these cheap seed oils because they're cheap. All right, so cooking at home lets you control the ingredients. So what would a day of meals look like without seed oils? Okay, so maybe you're like wondering, what do I eat, Tanya? What does a full day of seed oil free eating look like? Well, here's an example. So in the morning, if you can get some farm fresh eggs, all right, cook them in butter, have some sauteed spinach and half an avocado. Great healthy fats, good protein. All right, for lunch, maybe you grill some chicken and do some olive oil and a balsamic vinegar dressing. All right, and then throw some oregano on there, some basil, delish. And some nice leafy greens and some vegetables. And forget the store-bought dressing. There's only one dressing I know of right now, because I haven't done a ton of research lately, is Primal Kitchen. But I was in the grocery store yesterday looking at what they tout as healthy salad dressing, and all of them had canola oil or these bad oils in them. So you've got to turn it around and look at the back of the ingredient thing. Okay, so that's lunch. You could even do a nice steak with some salad, a potato with some butter, okay, sweet potato, grab a handful of nuts on the side. For a snack, you can have some Greek yogurt, get the full fat with some berries, right? That's a beautiful snack. You could even throw in some oats if you're looking to up your carbs. And then for dinner, you could have some baked salmon drizzled with some avocado oil, some roasted sweet potatoes or steamed sweet potatoes, some steamed broccoli with a little bit of butter. I like homemade cheese sauce. All right. So it's not crazy, people. Like, there's no deprivation, there's no stress. It's just clean, nourishing foods that help your body thrive. So stay away from packaged foods the best that you can. Okay. Now remember, this journey is about making empowering choices. It's not about perfection. I told you, I had French fries on the weekend. I ate at restaurants. I was at a cocktail. Oh, this made me kind of sick, but I was at a cocktail event. I chose to eat the little canapes. They were delicious. It was like tuna tartare. It was like pulled meat on a little bun. It was like fried chicken on a little biscuit. And then at the end of the day, and as I was eating them, I was actually like, God, I know these are in canola oil. And then as they're leaving, I see the canola oil box leaving. And I was like, oh my gosh, yuck. So I'm not perfect, right? But I really try to minimize my everyday. And then when I'm out, have a little more leeway. But I have to tell you something else that's really gross is that the seed oils have a half shelf life of 520 days. So it takes about 2 years to get half of the seed oils out of your body. Okay. So this is what I mean. You really have to work at reducing. Me too. I'm going to obviously take another step. I keep peeling another layer, another layer, another layer. I clean up my house first because this is where I am most of the time. And then I start to get pickier about how often I go out, where I go out, if I choose to eat at events, right? So sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Okay, so this is about small changes done consistently over time. It's about progress, not perfection. And, according to Dr. Catherine Shanahan, and I tell you, removing these seed oils is one of the most important, powerful moves you can make for your hormones, your energy, your brain, and your long-term health. And if you want to learn more, I highly recommend you checking out this book. It's a total game changer. And listening to my podcast week after week, you start to plant new seeds and you become aware of things you want to do and things you don't want to do. Okay, so thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Menopause Made Easy with Tanya. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review if this episode helped you. Share it with a friend who deserves to feel amazing too, because we're all eating seed oils. Okay, and the more people who stop buying products with seed oils, they will change. If you start asking for cleaner oils at a restaurant, they will change. It takes us to change. Okay, so until next time, ladies, stay strong, stay curious, and stay fabulous. And I will see you in the next episode.